It was last night here, a crush of photographers surrounding actor Jussie Smollett moments after he was charged with a felony. Authorities who did not hide their anger, saying he faked the racist and homophobic attack against him.
Jussie Smollett sentenced to jail, probation for lying to police. Yeah, see, he didn't even get prison. He just got jail time. Guy, dude, he is... Oh my goodness. I hated... So, I watched the show that he was on Fox. What was it called? Empire? It was a good show. I liked the show. But I couldn't stand him. Not as like a character. His character was fine. Him as an actor, he freaking sucked because he was overly dramatic all of the time. And it was like, it was really obnoxious because he wasn't actually like playing off the other characters. He wasn't, he didn't seem to be like it reading the room or in the same like mood that his, that like the writing seemed to make it sound like he was in. Like he was just always overly dramatic all of the time, and it was so obnoxious. And this right here, this is just like exactly what I would think of. Just like, this is the type of person I would think he is.
Okay, I'm not suicidal. Okay, I am not suicidal. I am innocent, and I am not suicidal.
Did you see the lawyer, dude? Did you see the lawyer just...
That's what I was about to say. Okay, I'm not suicidal. Okay, I am not suicidal. I am innocent, and I am not suicidal. If I did this, then it means that I stuck my fist in the fears of Black Americans in this country for over...
Oh, no. Oh, he goes on? Oh, no. You already lost. It's over. You already lost.
If I did this, then it means that I stuck my fist in the fears of Black Americans in this country for over 400 years and the fears of the LGBTQ community. Your Honor, I respect you and I respect the jury, but I did not do this. And I am not suicidal. And if anything happens to me when I go in there, I did not do it to myself. And you must all know that. I respect...
Oh, no. Oh, no. What did he do? Okay. Oh, this sounds so bad. Oh my goodness. Okay. So, Jussie Smollett, also known as Jussie Smollett, but his name's spelt Juicy. He, or as Dave Chappelle calls him, Jussie Smollett. He staged a robbery against himself. So all of a sudden, like, it came out in the news. He was robbed. There was like some camera footage of some guys like beating him up. And then like somebody found him with like a noose tied around his neck, gasoline poured all over him. Like some of his, I think like a small amount of his stuff was stolen. Like his shirt torn, all of this crap, right? And then it started to turn out that like he staged the whole thing. He like paid people to come beat him up. And apparently they yelled, "This is MAGA country," in the middle of Chicago. Apparently they yelled, "This is MAGA country," in the middle of Chicago. That, like, Chicago is not MAGA country. Chicago is definitely not, that's freaking where Obama's from, dude. Like, that is not MAGA country. It was just so dumb. And so then he went and he did a bunch of interviews with a bunch of people crying about like how hard this was and how racist our country really is and blah, blah, blah. And then the two twins, the guys who beat him up, black dudes, he said it was a hate crime. It was white dudes. They were yelling. They were calling him the N-word. They put him in a noose, like all of this stuff, right? So the two twins, it's so overly dramatic, dude. So overly dramatic. Like he could have just like done like a small little simple thing, but he had to overly dramatize the entire thing with the freaking noose, with the gasoline, with the you know, this is MAGA country, so that he had like a political stance, a political soapbox to stand on, and like to make him like a hero of BLM and all this crap. Like he had to take it way too far, to where everybody started getting suspicious of this. And so yeah, so the two twins who beat him up came out and they were like, no, he paid us. Here's the freaking check right here. He paid us like $2,000 each to pour gasoline on him and all this different stuff. And then apparently they said that he wanted to do it because his contract with Empire was about to renew. And everybody else was making more money than he was. He was like the lowest paid person on Empire. And he thought they were going to kill him off. He thought they were going to kill him off the show. He didn't think that they were going to renew his contract. So he staged this whole thing so that he's not just this little nobody actor that they're just going to kill off the set. Now he's going to be a freaking BLM hero. Right? A victim of hate crimes. He's going to be this freaking hero that everybody loves now. And then they'll give him this massive contract and they'll renew him and he'll be a huge part of the show. And apparently it worked. Like, apparently it worked. I'm pretty sure they renewed his contract. They gave him a bigger role in the show, blah, blah, blah. But then, like, the investigation started unraveling and showing that he made all of this stuff up. They poured bleach on him like it's just, the whole thing was just so overly staged up. Like I feel like, damn, dude, just, so yeah. So now, since he did all that, right? He did all of that. He staged the whole thing, made this big deal about it. Now he's convicted of it. Okay. But he's saying that he's innocent. It sounds as though, because now he's bringing up suicide, right? Now he's saying, I'm not suicidal. If I die, it's because somebody else did it to me, right? There are some people who are willing to buy into a lie and take it so far just to prove everybody else wrong, even though they were right. Or even though they were wrong, right? Like they just want everybody else to feel like they were wrong. Right? I've met these people so many times in my life. So like they will take a lie so far past them being proven liars that like they will do things so dramatic just to try to like prove you wrong, even though it's already like a matter of fact, like we all know you lied, right? It sounds as though he might actually commit suicide. So that all of us can go back and be like, oh, wait, he said if he commits suicide, somebody killed him. Like, yeah, it sounds like he's setting up his own suicide.
Your Honor, I respect your decision. Jail time? I am not suicidal.
Okay. Mr. Uche, let me inquire, are there any post-sentencing motions you care to present right now?
Yes, Judge.
Yes, Ms. Widow.
The defense would wish to present a motion to reconsider sentence.
All right.
And file it in stanter.
All right. It is timely filed.
Thank you.
He got so lucky. He got so lucky. He got 5 months in jail, right? 5 months in jail. He lied to the police. Then he went on this whole like media tour complaining about how he was hate crimed. and how racist the country is and how hard everything was for him. And truly, like, you got to see some of this stuff.
I'm Robin Roberts in New York. Musician and actor Jussie Smollett sat down with me for his first interview since that night in Chicago. Smollett told me how he's doing now and responds to those who doubt his account.
I'm pissed off.
What is it that has you so angry?
The whole thing, it's so dramatic. The whole thing is so dramatic.
Is it the attackers?
It's the attackers, but it's also the attacks. It's like, you know, at first it was a thing of like, listen, if I tell the truth, then that's it, because it's the truth. Mm-hmm. Then it became a thing of like, oh, how can you doubt that? Like, how do you not believe that? It's the truth. And then it became a thing of like, oh, it's not necessarily that you don't believe that this is the truth. You don't even want to see the truth.
This is like, even the way that he explains it, where instead of him saying like, yeah, and then people started to doubt me, instead of him saying that, like, the way he says it is very confusing, where it's like, oh, but then it became like, oh, maybe it didn't happen. But then I'm like, well, no, you don't see, because you don't want to see. Like, he just, like, the way that he explains all of this, it's almost like it's supposed to be like poetic or something. It's super weird.
What happened that night, Jussie?
When I landed in Chicago, and Frank Gatson, who's like my uncle, and he's also my creative director, and he picked me up. And then we got back to the apartment. There was no food. And so I went out to Walgreens thinking that they were 24 hours and to have a smoke.
I thought he went to Subway. I could have sworn the original story was that he went to Subway.
Walgreens was closed. So I called him up and I said, hey, I'm gonna run to Subway, which was across the street, and I'm gonna get a salad. Do you want anything? I went to the Subway and got the order. During that time, I texted my manager thinking that he was still in Australia, because he was on an Australian tour with one of his other clients. Mm-hmm. And I said, yo, call me when you can. He called me immediately. And while he was on the phone, I heard, as I was crossing the intersection, I heard Empire. And I don't answer to Empire. My name ain't Empire. And I didn't answer. I kept walking, and then I heard Empire. So I turned around and I said, did you just say to me? And I see the attacker masked, and he said, this MAGA country punches me right in the face. So I punched his ass back. And then we started tussling. You know, it was very icy, and we ended up tussling by the stairs. Fighting. There was a second person involved who was kicking me in my back. And then it just stopped. And they ran.
Like, what? Why, like, what reason did they have for this? Like, there's no, like, they just yelled Empire at him and he doesn't answer, and then they just start beating him up. Like, this already from the beginning just doesn't make sense. Like, it's as though he has this, like, view painted in his head that, like, oh, America, everybody knows that the United States is so racist that white dudes would obviously just come beat the crap out of you for no reason, just because you're black. As though, like, you're the first black person they've ever seen in their whole freaking life, to where they have to, they're like, oh my goodness, that's one of them, let's go get him. Like, no, nobody, this isn't like a thing that's actually happening, right? Like, and this isn't to, like, downplay racism in America. It's to say, like, when right-wingers a lot of the time are complaining about the libs and mainstream media, saying that, like, oh, they're painting this picture like everybody's so racist and blah, blah, blah. Normally, I'm like, they're not actually painting that picture, though. Like, nobody believes that freaking crap. But people like Brittany will say, oh, no, I believed it. She'll be like, oh, that was me. Like, that's who I was. I was one of those people who really thought that, like, everybody on the right was racist, and I thought I was racist. And I had white guilt, and I felt so bad. It's like, these aren't normal people, okay? These are like really like brain dead people who actually start thinking about things in this way. And it seems as though that's like the type of world that Jussie thinks he lives in.
Ran off, and I saw where they ran, and the phone was in my pocket, but it had fallen out, and it was sitting there, and my manager was still on the phone. So I picked up the phone and I said, Brandon, and he's like, what's going on? And I said, I was just jumped. And then I looked down and I see that there's a rope around my neck, which I hadn't obviously.
You hadn't noticed it before?
No,
You didn't
because
see?
it was so fast. You know what I'm saying? It was so fast.
How long did this all
It felt like minutes, but it probably was like 30 seconds, honestly. I can't tell you honestly. I noticed the rope around my neck and I started screaming. And I said, there's a rope around my neck.
Did you get any kind of description of the attack?
I gave a body description, and I, you know, because I saw this, and you know, right here or whatever, but I didn't see, I can't tell you what color their eyes were. I can't tell you, and I did not see anything except the second person I saw running away. And the first person, yeah, I saw his stature. I gave the description as best as I could. You have to understand also that it's Chicago in winter.
This, like, even the way that he's explaining this, I remember the first time I watched it and I kept thinking, like, his cadence and everything doesn't sound real. He doesn't look like he's like pausing to remember things, or like he doesn't look like somebody who's thinking his way through something. Like, lots of times when I remember something, even just then, when I was trying to remember what it was that I said, I kind of like look off to the side, because I need like almost like a blank canvas to now envision what it was that happened first and think my way through my own memories, right? This is like a really common thing that people do when they're trying to remember something, or they're trying to think back, is they'll like start to look off and kind of slow down the way that they're talking and have more pauses to like actually like let more seep in and see more in their memories. And he's just not doing that. It looks like he's like going through a script.
People can wear ski masks and nobody's going to question that.
The police have gone through a lot of video and they were able to capture an image of two people of interest. Have you seen that image? And do you believe that they could possibly be the attackers?
I do.
What is it about their size, or why do you feel that they could possibly be?
Because I was there. For me, when that was released, I was like, okay, we're getting somewhere. I don't have any doubt in my mind that that's them. Never did.
Why did you hesitate to want to call the police?
You know, there's a level of pride there. We live in a society where, as a gay man, you are considered somehow to be weak. And I'm not weak. I am not weak. And we are, as a people, are not weak. So, I mean, I can accept that there was...
It's so messed up, dude. It's so freaking messed up. He is such a piece of garbage. This dude is a piece of human garbage. He is such a trash human being, dude. It is so messed up that he like uses this fake bullcrap to stand up on a soapbox, because afterwards, even if like anything that he did in this time was actually useful, where he like actually like spread some sort of awareness about gay people or about black people or about racism or anything like that, all of it is tarnished as soon as he's found out to be a liar. Like, every little bit of it is tarnished as soon as he's found out to be a liar, to where he does nothing but harm all of this crap that he's pretending to be in favor of. All of the things that he's pretending to care about. It is all such bull crap, because he's going to turn around and only hurt all of those movements. In knowingly so. Like, he's sitting here in this interview knowing everything he's saying is a lie, and he's doing it anyways. It is such bullcrap, dude. Like, truly, Not because he's black. I don't care. This dude should be freaking tarred and feathered and just freaking dragged through the streets. Like, he is such a piece of crap, dude. He is such a piece of crap. I hate this guy so much. He is baiting his own suicide 100%. I mean, that's what it sounds like.
There's pride there. There's also privacy. You know, at the end of the day, look what has happened. You know, look what has happened. So I'm glad that Frank called the police. I'm glad that we reported it. During that time before they came, it took them about maybe half hour to come. And during that time, I was looking at myself, just like checking myself.
It only ever takes me about 30 seconds to come.
I saw the bruise on my neck, you know, like the little, the rope burn around my neck. And then I smelled bleach. I know the smell of bleach. And I saw on my sweatshirt, it had marks on it, like spots on it, when you have a bad bleach job. So then I was like, there's bleach on me too. So when the police came, I kept the clothes on. I kept the rope.
So you had the rope on the entire time?
I mean, it wasn't like wrapped around, but yeah, it was around because I wanted them to see. I wanted them to see what this was. I told them what happened, everything. I also asked them to turn their body cams off because they were trying to stay in the hallway. And I was like, please just come in. Like, I don't want a big scene with my neighbors. I went down to where it happened and I walked them through exactly what happened. And I looked up and I saw that there was a camera directly on the light post that is in the intersection. So I'm like, there it is.
A potential break in the case that would eventually fall apart days.
I think that actually, I believe I remember, if I remember this correctly, he actually didn't know that that camera was there and just realized it when he was walking out. Like, he just realized that the camera was there. If I remember correctly, I could be wrong.
Days later.
And then the detective told me that the camera inside of the casing was facing north, so they didn't have it. And that was disappointing.
The vast majority of people have been supportive and loving and understanding. And then as time has gone on and that there's no, you know, it's 2 o'clock in the morning, you're going to Subway, Sub-Zero.
Subway is open 24 hours. Like, people kill me when they say things like that because it's like Subway is open 24 hours for a reason.
So I've never heard of a Subway being open 24 hours. I don't doubt it in like downtown Chicago, but he's saying this as though everybody knows it's Subway. It's open 24 hours. Like, I think most Subways are not open 24 hours.
So that when you're hungry at night and you ain't got no food, you go to Subway. The camera facing north. How is that my issue? It feels like if...
See, okay, so this is, well, like, this, like, grandstanding right here. So I think somebody who's actually, so like BX Bullet, I believe BX Bullet when she talks about the Mr. Girl stuff, because she's actually like introspective about it and says like, I can actually see why people think what they think. Like, I understand that completely, and that's my fault. She's like, and I've admitted to that, like, that's my bad. I think that when people actually do something wrong, or like when something is true, I think people are normally going to be more introspective in those moments. He, right now, if I was to believe him, he would need to say something like, yeah, of course, like, these are precarious circumstances, so like it makes sense that some people wouldn't believe that this happened. And even on top of that, lots of people would like to believe that they don't live in a country like this, or where like most people don't know somebody who is you know, deranged enough to just go out and beat somebody up and pour bleach on them and tie a noose around their neck. Like, most people obviously like have trouble comprehending something like this just happening at random. So of course it makes sense that like when I come out with my story and tell people what happened to me, that they would have trouble believing it. Like, I would need to hear something like that at some point. But his like dismay, that like this is that this like extreme circumstance, whether it happened or not, is so hard for people to believe. I'm not buying that. And as soon as he can't buy that, I'm not buying anything that he's saying. Like that was like the last straw for me. I remember watching this interview thinking some of this stuff is like obviously understandable. Like how the fact that he is like so defensive at every turn to me is just evidence that like he's making the whole thing up.
If I had said it was a Muslim or Mexican or someone black, I feel like the doubters would have supported me a lot more. And that says a lot about the place that we are in our country right now. The fact that we have these fear mongers, these people that are trying to separate us, and it's just not.
Is he literally? Oh my goodness, dude. He's literally wearing like BLM fist. Then he's got like a bunch of like LGBTQ flag stuff. I can't tell what this one is, but it's so gross, dude. It is so gross to like use these movements to try to get a higher paying contract. Not only is he using like real movements with real problems and then applying them to his uber privileged butt as though like, oh, things are so hard for the freaking television star. He's also stoking the flames in like an already heated problem with race in this country to make white people the bad guys, right? Like he's like uber, like he's really trying to make sure that white people are the bad guys in this. It's just really gross, dude. Like everything about this, you just have to be such a disgusting person to do something like this.
Okay. It's just not okay. And for all of the people, the next time that you see someone report something, maybe well after the fact that it happened, and you say to them, well, why you wait until now? Just remember that mine was reported right away. And look what has happened.
The phone. Mm-hmm. When did you, because as you said, it was an accurate account of the timeline, valuable information. When did you make that information available to the police?
We had to give the phone records, which they didn't originally ask for my phone records. They asked for my phone. They wanted me to give my phone to the tech for 3 to 4 hours. I'm sorry, but I'm not gonna do that.
Why?
Because I have private pictures and videos and numbers, my partner's number, my family's number, my castmates' number, my friends' numbers, my private emails, my private songs, my private voice memos. I don't know what that's gonna be to hand over my phone for, and honestly, by then, inaccurate, false statements had already been put out there.
Earlier
So it's him trying to cover up his lies.
this week, he submitted phone records from within an hour of the incident, but Chicago police said they were limited and heavily redacted, adding they need additional information to corroborate the investigative timeline. His attorneys tell us they are willing to cooperate. Smollett also says he has been troubled by inaccurate claims. What other ones had you heard that were inaccurate?
That I had said that they were wearing MAGA hats. I never said that. I didn't need to add anything like that. They called me a They called me a There's no which way you cut it. I don't need some MAGA hat as the cherry on top of some racist sundae. I've heard that it was a date gone bad, which I so resent that narrative. I'm not gonna.
He looks like he's freaking acting, dude. He looks like he's acting. I don't believe it. I don't believe a second of it. I don't believe it. I'm not buying it. I like when the news first came out, I believed him. I thought like, yeah, this is probably true. Like, yeah, just hearing the news. But as soon as I saw him talk about it, I was immediately off board. Like I was no longer buying it.
I'm gonna go out and get a tuna sandwich at a salad to meet somebody. That's ridiculous. And it's offensive. Yes, there's Grindr. Yes, there's Jacked. Yes, there's...
It's offensive that you would get a tuna sandwich for a date? Freaking rich people, dude. Freaking rich people and their privilege. Like, this guy, as he's sitting here playing this victim, he's like, I would go to Subway for a date? That is offensive. Okay, like that's the offensive part that you want to talk about here. Like you got called an N-word, you got called out, you know, what was the gay slur that I don't know, but the offensive part is that they said that you go to Subway for a date. That's the
all of these things, which I have not been on in years. I can admit that I was on that back in the day. I was single. You know what I'm saying? But I have not been on that in years. But aside from that, it's offensive. And I absolutely resent that narrative because it's bull. It's bull. And it's unfair. It's unfair to the investigation. It's unfair to, I hate this word, but it's unfair to the victim.
What were your injuries? What were they?
They did x-rays. I didn't have, it was reported that I had like fractured ribs or cracked ribs or something like that. That wasn't true. I was just in a lot of pain. You know, my clavicle was messed up. My rib was bruised, but nothing was cracked. Like I walked into the hospital. I walked out of the hospital.
Why do you think you were targeted?
I can just assume, I mean, I come really, really hard against 45. I come really, really hard against his administration. And I don't hold my tongue.
I want to ask you about Jussie Smollett.
I think that's horrible. It doesn't get worse, as far as I'm concerned.
Were you aware that he made that statement?
I saw it. I don't know what to say to that, you know?
He is so dramatic, dude. He is so dramatic. Like, who would buy this? Who would buy this?
You know, I appreciate him not brushing over it.
And there is no doubt in your mind what motivated this attack.
I could only go off of their words. I mean, who says empire, this MAGA country, ties a noose around your neck and pours bleach on you? And this is just a friendly fight? I will never be the man that this did not happen to. I am forever changed. And I don't subscribe to the idea that everything happens for a reason, but I do subscribe to the idea that we have the right and the responsibility to make something meaningful out of the things that happen to us, good and bad.
What do you feel people need to hear the most from this story?
I think that what people need to hear is just the truth.
Ah.
It's just the truth.
That'd be nice.
Everybody has their own idea. Some are healing and some are hurtful. But I just want young people, young members of the LGBTQ community, young black children to know how strong that they are, to know.
Freaking crap, dude. I'm gonna go into a freaking rage, dude. I can't listen to this guy continuously, like, use all of his Oppression Olympics cards to get brownie points on this bull crap. I can't do this, dude. This, like, I can. I will, but damn it, dude. This is like, I can't do this without this just really pissing me off. Like, this is so disgusting. This is so gross. It's just a gross thing to do, man. I don't know.
Oh, the power that they hold in their little pinky.
It's been 2 weeks since that night left actor Jussie Smollett bruised but not broken, and he's still processing the raw emotions. Have you ever been threatened before?
Yeah. I get threatened all the time on Twitter and Instagram and DMs and things like that. It's like, but, you know, I'm a public figure. I'm very outspoken. Sometimes maybe too outspoken, but it's who I am, you know? So I get the idea of pissing people off, that you're gonna rub people the wrong way.
In fact, the week before the attack, police confirm a letter was sent to the Fox studio in Chicago with threatening language and laced with powdery substance, likely Tylenol. Do you think there's a link between the letter and the attack? And you did mention it to the police right away about the letter.
Absolutely. Just because on the letter it had a stick figure hanging from a tree with a gun pointing towards it, with the words that said, Smollett Jussie, you will die, black. There was no address, but the return address said in big red, you know, like caps, MAGA. Did I make that up too?
And despite lack of video surveillance footage, Smollett hopes to rewrite the narrative about that night, saying he fought back against his attackers and reported the incident after his creative director called 911.
He's supposed to be well-known requesting a report, instead the noose was placed over the friend's neck.
I want that video found so badly because for probably 4 reasons. Number one, I want them to find the people that did it.
Mostly he wants them to find it because he was planning on that recording everything the entire time. So without that, a lot of the theatrics that they put into it is pointless.
Number 2, I want them to stop being able to say alleged attack. Number 3, I want them to see that I fought back. And I want a little gay boy who might watch this to see that I fought back. And it does not take anything away from people that are not able to do that.
It's just like this is just, it looks like acting to me. I'm sorry. It looks like acting to me. The first time I saw this, I was not buying a second of it. It looks so bad. And especially in retrospect, once we know like that he was already sentenced and found guilty of faking all of this, like this is so cringe. Like this is just so, it's so hard to watch.
But I fought back. They ran off. I didn't.
What do you say to a young gay man, a young gay person?
To learn to fight. And I don't just mean like learn to fight. I mean, learn to fight. Learn to be a fighter. I am not advocating violence at all. So let's be clear about that. If you're gonna die, fight until you do. Because if you don't fight, you have no chance. I have fought for love. I'm an advocate. I respect too much the people who I am now one of those people who have been attacked in any way. You do such a disservice when you lie about things like this.
What a role model. What a role model. What a freaking hero. I should get beat up by somebody.